Hi, Tom from the Fired Steel Forge, and today on the adventures of the FJ60 Land Cruiser, we're going to look at the tools that I keep in the back of the truck and what I did to improve on what I carry. Okay, let's get started. Also, by the way, we have a light breeze here in North Dakota today, so hopefully I can keep the camera out of the wind. I say a light breeze, so about 25 miles an hour. Okay. Alright, so this big pile of boxes here is what I used to always carry. And it weighs about 78 pounds, depending on what fluids I have in the military box there. And it just takes up quite a bit of room in the back here. So I tried to do some scaling down to try to lighten up the load and save up some more space in the back. So I'll show you guys what I did. Socket boxes like this are really nice because they keep everything organized. But look at all this space. Look at all that space that you're giving up. And how about that big toolbox? All those tools that you carry in there all the time that you'll never use on your vehicle. My FJ60 Land Cruiser is all metric except for about 6 nuts or bolts on the entire vehicle, including my radio antenna and a few others. Why would I be carrying all of the standard tools when I don't need them? So I whittled them down. And then on the metric tools, I went through pretty much anything that's on the vehicle and just kept those. Why would I carry smaller or larger tools that aren't even on the vehicle? Those nuts and bolt sizes. So I really think I got it whittled down pretty well. And let's show you what I have in the vehicle now. Okay, let's grab this thing. It's got these nice little cinch snap buckles here, and then the whole thing just rolls out. Got some zip ties, different sizes, just kind of stuck in between the crevices, and my half inch ratchet. Those are the only two things that won't fit in the length of the pockets. This one has 6 pockets, one big one here at the end, one a little bit bigger, and then these 3 are kind of a little bit larger too. The one in the middle is a little bit smaller. But really nice large zippers. They're not YKK, they just say Bucket Boss on the zipper. I don't know, they might be YKK, but they're really nice zippers. Let's see if I can get this open one-handed. And here, these things are super handy too. They're pencil cases. You can get these things at Walmart in the school section, dirt cheap. Sometimes they're less than $1. And then I've got all of my sockets on these locking tool rails. I believe I've got these at Napa. You have to spin the socket and it pops up. Spin it and it locks on. So these are my quarter drive ratchets in here. Odd little short stubby quarter drive sockets. And the next pocket. Again, I really like these pencil cases. They got handles on them so you can cam around. Extensions, 3/8 drive, this is all my 3/8 drive stuff, ratchet, a couple extensions, spark plug socket. Again, 3/8 or multiple size. You know, I got wobble, a reducer. You know, I got 12. I've got a couple of, a 10, a couple of 12s in different lengths because those are more common on the 60s and different line cruisers. 13 and 14. Actually, this is a 1/2 inch and a 13. They're just a little bit off from each other. I've got one bolt up in the engine bay by my battery. That's a 13. 9/16 and a 14. They're just a little bit off from each other, but they'll both work for each other. 17, long 17, and this is I believe this is a long 19 and a short 19. You know, you don't really need to carry all of the super small ones, like the 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s. I've got a couple of those small ones and an 8 in my quarter drive. But you know, you don't really need those real big ones up to, like, 27 or whatever in your 3/8 drive. And then I've got a couple of the 1/2 inch, the only 1/2 inch ones I've got in here. And these are ones that just, the big 24 for doing your diff and transfer case and transmission check plugs. 12, 14, 17. This is adapter to 3/4 drive. I got some of those big ones in under the front seat for doing the front hub nuts, things like that. So you don't really need a lot of tools. I mean, a lot of times you're carrying a lot of extra stuff that you just don't need. A couple of adjustable wrenches, different sizes, and these are all my wrenches. I've got 2 12s, 2 14s, 2 17s, a 19, actually 2 19s, even 8, a couple of 10s, one of my 10s and one of my 12s are ratcheting, and they're angle so I can get in different spots. Some odd spools of wire, and these are another little pencil bag. I've got all my hex keys in here, my Allen wrenches. And in this pocket I've got some pliers and Phillips and a longer slot screwdriver, finer slot screwdriver, good pair of pliers. I love these angled needle nose. I use these things 9 times out of 10 more than any other plier I own. Really fine, small needle nose plier. I ground a slot screwdriver on this side too. This helps for putting clips and stuff back on carburetor linkages. A couple of vice grips and a stripper crimper for wire leads. Into the next pocket, this is my kind of catch-all pocket. Roll of, I really love this stuff, it's Blue Monster. It's thread tape. That Blue Monster brand, whether it's the pipe dope or the thread tape, is awesome. It's even rated for steam. Wire brush, dielectric compound. We got some odd hose clamps, a couple extra battery ends, vacuum caps, just some odds and ends in there. Punch, you just don't know when you need a punch. And then I also sharpen this into it's like a multi-drive Phillips screwdriver in case I need to really whack a screw or something and my impact driver just isn't enough. Some extra hose, battery terminal cleaner. There's a little hook that I made for pulling contacts out of electrical fittings. A couple of small C-clamps. You can use those for compressing your brake pads if necessary, and holding all kinds of other stuff. A good pipe cutter. Get a good one. Those blades, you can really tell a good blade from a bad blade. Stubby screwdrivers, stubbier screwdrivers. only got 2 line wrenches in here, the 10, 12, and then the 14, 14, 15, I believe. Those are really the only 2 that you need. Tape measure, because you never know when you got to tape measure something. Brass punch, in case you got to work on the gas tank at all. You know, just odds and ends, pencils, some markers, Sharpies, a couple other punches. It's amazing how much this roll will just swallow up things, and it's just amazing to me. And it's such a small, light container that you can just pick up and carry it off anywhere. It's not like a big heavy toolbox. And then the big last pocket in here, another pencil case. Love these things. And then Ziploc bag. We've got an assortment of wire nuts and wire ends, fuse tester and clip remover, extra fuses, different sizes of shrinks, heat shrink sleeve for wiring, and some electrical tape. And this is really all you need to carry. You don't need to carry that big plastic tube that all that stuff came in, or those little, all those little boxes. They just take up so much room. Megometer. Jump wires, alligator clip jump wires for jumping contacts to each other, checking shorts and stuff. A couple pairs of gloves, feeler gauges for setting the valves, different things like that. Rechargeable light, and it's got a light at the end. Love this thing. It hangs. You can hang this thing different areas. You can hang it flat. It's got 2 hooks. It's got a magnet, and let me see if I can pull this out for you. You pull this out, and then it also pivots. So even with the magnet, you can stick this thing anywhere. And I've ran this thing on high for over 6.5 hours, and it never did go dead. I bought this thing at Napa. It's called the Blue Fuel. There's the part number. I think it's right around 600 lumens or something like that. This thing's awesome. I love this thing. A couple extra chargers for my phone, just in case I forget one. A couple more short zip ties. Some golf tees in case you got to plug off vacuum lines. Another really small. This is a really small screwdriver for taking contact leads out of electrical connections. And really, that's about all I carry. I've got a couple of strips of Velcro in here also, because they can just come in handy every once in a while. Alright, so that's how I whittled down my heavy toolboxes and was able to get a lot more room in the back of my vehicle. And it's a lot lighter to carry. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you want to be that person that carries all the tools for an entire group of people that go out on the trail, maybe they're going to trade off and they're going to carry more food in their cooler. Maybe they've got a bigger cooler, or more adult wobble pops or beverages, things like that. Maybe a guy could trade off some room and weight in your vehicle if you've got the tools. But for me, most of the time I'm out by myself, or a couple other guys that have the same type of vehicles that I do. So why carry more? Yeah, you're just wasting gas and room that you could be putting other stuff in. So, okay, this has been Tom Brown at the Fire Steel Forge, Adventures of the FJ60 Line Cruiser. We'll catch you on the next one. On a little side note, as I was putting all the stuff back together in the bag, I noticed that I actually had two full rolls of thread tape. So I'm going to take one out to save more room. Okay, Don't think that just because you shoved all your stuff in their bag that you can't do things better. This is obvious proof that every time you go through your bag, kind of like if just like when you're backpacking, you do the same thing. The more trips you go on, the more you realize what you actually need to take and what you don't. So keep whittling those toolboxes down, and before you know it, you'll have all kinds of room in your truck. Oh, by the way, if you guys are wondering where my red winter carry-all bag is from the last video and my recovery gear, it's in the other truck right now. So don't think I left it out. And we'll get to that other truck some other time.